Yeah. Look, Wrestling 101, classes in session. Pay attention to the teachings, that's from Andrew and Derek. I mean, these guys making a killing with no competition. Dynamic duo better than the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys. Everybody make some noise, mess with them, you get destroyed. They cannot be beat, take a seat. Watch them do they thing on the NYC. Face defeat, they cannot be seen like JC. Oh my goodness, it's a killing spree.
Hey man, this is Joakim Money Morales, co-owner of Battle Club Pro, commissioner of Innovative Pro Wrestling. And if you gotta tighten up those screws in your head and raise the level of wrestling knowledge, you need to listen to Wrestling IQ 101. It is the source for all your wrestling knowledge. Take this college course in body slams and you'll be better for it.
Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of Wrestling IQ 101. I'm Andrew alongside Derek.
You.
And you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Wrestling IQ 101. And today on the phone we have the King of New York, EC Negro. How's it going?
I'm doing well, brother. Thank you so much for having me. I truly appreciate it. Sorry about not being able to come in the studio, but as you know, I have a show in a few days. We have a lot of preparations going on with that, so I wanted to just be able to divide my time equally amongst everyone.
Yeah, man, definitely.
And so, King, this is the first time we have some royalty on the show. I mean, how does one actually become a king?
That's through birth, brother. That's not one of those things that you could just become one, man. I was born a king, bro. So, but and that it also comes with hard work and a lot of perseverance, a lot of negativity in the wrestling business, and you have to be able to withstand all the fires to be successful. And I feel like I've proven myself over the last few years.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And when it comes to King of New York's, this is a question I have to ask you. Who do you think is the greatest King of New York besides yourself? There's been a lot: Jay-Z, Biggie Smalls, Frank White. Who do you think is the best King of New York?
Oh, that's a tough question, but you might think this is a weird answer, but to me, the King of New York is Derek Jeter.
Oh, okay, nice.
He brought. Yeah, I'm gonna go with a Yankee answer. It's easy to go with the gangster stuff and the hip hop stuff, but someone who polarized New York City for 20 years, was loyal to the pinstripes from day one, and played with heart, grit, and absolute determination. No one better in my lifetime as the King of New York and as a New York Yankee than Derek Jeter.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to say Mike Piazza, but
yeah, no one's
get out of here with that crap. Let me tell you something. We don't root for the Mets around these parts.
That's right.
No.
After they lost 20-4 the other day, I wouldn't root for them either.
Listen, they must have lost 20-4 about 30 years ago, because I haven't rooted for them since '86.
Oh man,
you see.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's really disappointing, man.
That's funny.
So EC, we gotta talk about this, man. My first early memories of you were being part of the Dirty Scoundrels. How did that come about?
Well, the DRS was a very great tag team, man. I'm really good friends with Santana from LAX, and I wish that the DRS was around to have great matches with guys like that. And just tag team wrestling is so amazing right now. I do miss it a lot. But the DRS came about through the Doghouse. Homicide put us together. The first day that my former tag team partner, Casey Blade, we both came to the Doghouse for the first time on the same day. And we were in the ring just messing around with each other. And as a greenhorn and someone that was really not that intelligent, I asked to give him a German suplex. He took it, and the rest is history from there. We feuded for a long time in the Doghouse, and then we became a tag team. And we did very well in the 2000s on the independent scene. We just didn't seal the deal.
Yeah, definitely. Now, Let's talk about some of your like your promos and your photo shoots, man, because they're just like one of the best that I've seen on the indie scene for sure. Like,
Thank you, man.
like how do you come up with like some of your concepts and things like that?
I never planned promos. Andrew could tell you, I never, like, I don't look in the mirror or rehearse lines or anything like that. You know, we kind of just want to stick to themes with the character. You know, the King of New York is supposed to be a drug lord, you know, a Nino Brown type character from New Jack City.
Yeah.
And we just look for great environments to film in, and they press play, you know, they press record, and I just go. And it's usually one take or two takes at the most, but I have a specific idea for what this character is, and I'm a firm believer in this specific saying that nobody in wrestling can push you like you push yourself. No promoter, not even the fans. So you have to put out as much content as humanly possible. And I just tried raising the bar to make other people around me step up, and other wrestlers too, because I feel like there's not a better heel on the East Coast than me right now.
Yeah, I mean, we got to talk about this, man. What happened with Pro Wrestling Magic and BCW?
Wait, Pro Wrestling Magic, and what was the other company you said?
BCW.
Okay, so the Pro Wrestling Magic thing, I'm still friends with Steve Off and guys like that, but I felt like they disrespected me as far as what the quality of matches they were giving me as a world champion and stuff like that. And if I'm wearing your belt and I'm the bearer of your company, this is just maybe my opinion, but I think a lot of other wrestlers would agree that if you're the top guy in the company, you should be working the top names in the company, the top names that you're bringing in. And with that situation, I just felt like they were constantly throwing me in three-way matches and four-way matches and things of that nature, and they weren't giving me the opportunity to really show my wrestling ability. People don't know that I'm a great technical wrestler. I'm a great chain wrestler, because they're so used to seeing me wrestle as a character and being a heel and drawing heel heat and things of that nature. So we just, they asked me to do something, and I asked them what happened to what you told me you were going to do for me. And it was just, you know, it was a disagreement, and I just chose to kind of just take my ball and go home, man. I didn't feel appreciated. I didn't feel like I was the top guy. And I felt like if you go back and look at the bookings and stuff like that, they were bringing in big-name guys, but they had them working the lower-level guys. And I was just getting fed just, you know, guys that are talented and stuff like that. But as the world champion, you want to work the best. And I'm very happy with my decision. I feel like it paid off for myself.
Yeah, definitely. Now, can you tell us, like, what's the significance and how much it means to you of being Puerto Rican in wrestling today? Because I feel like there's such a strong connection in like the Puerto Rican wrestling community when it comes to like the Hit Squad, LAX, and, you know, Homicide, like things like that. What's the significance of that, and how much does that mean to you?
It means the world to me, bro, because that's the blood I bleed every day, you know. Lately I've been kind of thinking to myself that I think I need to represent being Puerto Rican even more than I do, because even with my King of New York character, people know obviously that I'm Hispanic. I look Hispanic. They see my last name as Arroyo. You know, they know that I'm of Puerto Rican descent, but I don't rep it as much as some of these other groups do, like LAX is. I mean, Puerto Rican to the bone, and they represent it, and there's so much pride in it. I feel like I should do it more, but I'm honored to be Puerto Rican. I wouldn't want to be anything else. And, you know, there hasn't been a lot of prevalent Puerto Rican wrestlers. This has been a sport that's been predominantly dominated by, you know, Caucasians. So it's great to represent where you're from. And now with the way wrestling has changed with social media and stuff like that, I think it's even more prevalent. And I think you should, I think you just kind of woke me up a little bit. I have to definitely represent it more than I do.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah, what happened with you and TJ Marconi?
Do you want to ask about the BCW thing first? Because I know you asked me about that, or should I just go into the TJ thing? I could do that.
Okay, well, either way.
With BCW, I was the first booker in that company.
Okay.
And we were getting pretty good buzz in the beginning. I felt like we were bringing in a lot of smart talent. But I brought in this guy named Pete Rosado, who was a fan beforehand. No one really knew who he was. He was supposed to be my assistant and work with me, and I was going to slowly bring him in. And he kind of just, started schmoozing with Anthony Cole and finagled his way into them getting rid of me. I didn't do anything wrong towards the company or anything like that. It was just a decision that they felt like my name gets a lot of negative press. The thing that sucks is that people in this wrestling business tend to believe the character that you are and that you portray. And I feel like, especially not so much now, but back in the days, I had a pretty bad reputation of being a dick to people. Whether it was like playing ribs or just always being loud and obnoxious and things like that. But as you get older, you grow up and mature, and you do, you take care of yourself and you wisen up, you mature. And I felt like I did that, and I felt like my reputation from the past was preceding me there, and they just made a decision. They kind of wanted me to not book, but they still wanted me to be talent on the show, and they wanted me to help them get business ventures and stuff like that, and it was something that I wasn't interested in. I felt like they broke the trust.
Wow.
That's as real as it gets. Yeah, that's as real as it gets, man. It's a messed up situation, but I see where they're at now, and I see what I'm doing now, and again, I feel like it was a blessing in disguise. At the time, things don't seem like blessings, but as time goes on, you see the direction that company took and the direction that I took, and I definitely rose above that. So I'm very happy with what happened. I was upset at first, but it's been water under the bridge for quite some time.
Okay, cool. Because and you could see it's working out great for you. I mean, you're getting some better matches, marquee matches. You're being featured a lot more everywhere you go. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure, man. And and I appreciate that you noticed that. BCW tried bringing me back a few months ago, and I didn't want to go back, but they wanted to do business, and I thought they were going to treat me well, and there was other ventures that were being talked about at that time. So when I went back, they didn't want to pay me the money that I asked for, and it was just like, okay, these guys haven't changed at all, and decided to not do business with them, and I would never do business with BCW again.
And that's unfortunate for them because, I mean, you talk about being a veteran guy, somebody who really stands up for himself in the locker room. You seem to do that. You seem to take people under your wing too, and that's kind of their loss.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, one of the things I did with TJ Marconi and with guys like Sebastian Cage and Steve Lugo and other guys that I've helped in this business, and I just feel like I'm just a firm believer in surround yourself with people that cheer for you always, and when good things are happening for you, the crew that you have around you should be happy for you. And if they're not happy for you, then you shouldn't be around them. You shouldn't surround yourself with them.
Yeah.
And I started seeing that. A lot with Troy, and I just didn't want to really do business with him anymore. People know that we started NYC together. That was our company, and I'm the founder of the Create or Die thing that we were doing as well, and I wanted to bring him on board. And at the time when I brought him, when I started talking to him and stuff, he wanted to quit wrestling. He didn't really want to be a part of wrestling anymore and stuff like that. So I kind of felt like I was a big part of rejuvenating his career, and some of the things that I saw, they weren't really appreciated, and I just chose to distance myself from doing any business with him. And I don't see myself doing business with him ever again.
Yeah. Now, when when you first put together Create or Die, like what was the message that you saw behind it, and like how were the guys that were in Create or Die, like how were they selected, like to who was going to be in there?
Yeah, so Create or Die was originally supposed to be a bigger group of guys. We had other guys that we wanted to use, but a few of the guys were afraid of the gimmick because they felt like it was too real and they didn't want to get heat in certain places that they were at.
Yeah.
But to me, the concept of the gimmick was to be like a renegade group of guys who were tired of being held back by promoters and not being given the ball. So we were going to create our own destiny. You know what I mean? So we started filming like these little vignettes, and nobody knew who it was, and they started really picking up momentum and steam. And as time went on, we were starting to figure out who the main guys were going to be. It was going to be myself, TJ, and Sebastian Cage. But then we were also talking to Caveman about being in it because, he's a really good friend of ours, and we thought it would have been like a good shock factor to have him all of a sudden not be a caveman anymore and be a part of the group. Mm-hmm. But it just didn't work out. And the guys that were chosen were because at the time we were all really good friends, and I thought that we all had everybody's best intentions were for each other, and we were working hard to create these characters together and to create these vignettes. And we were also working hard with the group #Dope that we started with William Coltrane and Johnny Ball to put out these great vignettes and take our careers to the next level. And everything was working fine and dandy until some messed up things happened. But that's part of the business, and you just move forward. You take it as a good experience.
Yeah. We had Jay George on a few months ago. And he talked about being hungry, and not being humble anymore. Do you kind of feel the same way because you're kind of getting up there? How can you relate to that?
As far as like wrestlers not being humble anymore?
No, I mean just he felt like it's his time. He's hungry. He's waiting for opportunities, and he's gonna go out and take them. And still be humble, but in the way not to forward his career. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, to some extent, you do have to do that because you have to put yourself out there, and no one's gonna call you. You gotta knock on everybody's door until they open it up for you, and you can't give up when you're knocking and someone's not opening it. You gotta knock harder. So I agree with Jay George, and what's funny about it, he wasn't booked for our first NYC show. Mm-hmm. He had the balls to show up to our show with his bag. He rolled it upstairs and said, "Do you have any work?" And I liked it so much. I was so impressed with the fact that he did that we booked him. And he's been a part of the company ever since. But I like that. You know what I mean? I feel like it's very easy to get into the wrestling business nowadays. So from when I came in, it was a lot harder, and the dues that you had to pay were a lot more prevalent. It doesn't really exist the way that it does. It doesn't exist. It's nowhere near as much as it was. It's so much easier to get in now. So paying dues, I think, is very important. I think a lot of wrestlers need to learn how to pay dues a little bit more and be a little bit more patient. But this is a very selfish business, and most people will want what they want now. So if you're gonna have that mentality, you gotta go all the way with it.
Yeah. What's your feelings about Mike Law? He also calls himself the King of New York. Is he stepping on gimmick infringement?
Yes, he is.
Yes.
I'd slap the life out of him if I saw him in person. But I respect
That's funny.
I respect what he's done so much because he's one of those guys that weren't being given an opportunity, and he made it on his own. He didn't have an industry backing him up. Mm-hmm. So I respect anybody who hustles hard to get what they want to get and achieve their dreams. It's really cool to see that you don't have to be. You could become Instagram famous. You could become YouTube famous. There's so many different avenues now, Twitter and all this stuff on how to become famous. Mm-hmm. So it's dope that he was able to do that. And if you really think about it, you know, he's a heel.
Mm-hmm.
He's a wrestling heel. He just talks a lot of trash, and people get so annoyed by it, but they have to watch everything that he says. So it works.
Yeah, it does for sure.
Definitely. Now with
he's over like Rover.
yeah,
he is for sure.
Now with NYC Wrestling, how is it put together, and how does NYC Wrestling separate itself from every other indie wrestling show that's out there?
That's a very good question, and I appreciate the fact that you're asking that. You know, this is my opinion. NYC Wrestling, we promote our shows differently. We have a different vibe at our shows, a different type of crowd at our shows, and we try to do things that are original and different. From the vignettes that we put out there to the way that we promote our shows, you know, infusing hip hop and wrestling together, which is something that hasn't really been done by a mainstream wrestling company. So we wanted to do things that represented the letters NYC as much as possible. Obviously, you know, NYC stands for Now You Create, but it's the initials of the city that I'm from and that I'm very proud to be a part of. So when I was sitting back with my partner Orlando and Peter Romanowski at the time, we were thinking about initials that people would be proud to chant no matter what. We thought NYC would be perfect. So I just feel like it's different. You know, I feel like we give a lot of great talent opportunities. We don't really have bad talent on our shows at all. And I feel like with this show that we're doing next Friday night in Bergenfield, New Jersey, we're putting on a very solid lineup for independent wrestling. And I just hope the fans come out and they really enjoy what we're giving them, because we're putting a lot of work into making sure that it's a very successful show.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you know, when you see guys like Tatanka and James Ellsworth calling you out, you know, these guys, you know, they don't really mention people's names in these promos. They're just like, oh, I'm just going to be there. How does it feel to be mentioned by them?
It's a great feeling, man. It's such an honor, and it just makes you realize that the dream can still come true, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little bit older. I'm 38 years old, but I still believe that I am going to be on television. I do believe like I'm going to get that opportunity to show my talents and show my craft for a big time company. So, you know, when you start getting matches like the ones that I've been getting lately, and I have to thank Rob Fury and the guys at SWF and all the other companies that I've worked at for giving me the opportunity to work these top names, but I'm producing with all of them at a really high level, and you know, the best feeling is having them shake your hand afterwards and tell you that you did a really good job and that they were very happy with the match. So all that stuff is extremely flattering as a wrestling fan, someone who's I remember watching Tatanka's first match, so to be able to lock up with him and have a match with him, and a very good match at that, was very awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Now with the NYC events, I see like there's been a trend of hip hop album names. So, you know, like Get Rich or Die Trying,
sure.
Protect Your Neck. How did you come up with that idea, and is that something that we're going to continue to see with NYC Wrestling?
Yeah, we'll definitely see that for now with NYC Wrestling, and eventually we'll branch off into something else that's New York. I kind of want to do the company like seasons, you know. So right now we're in season 1, and it's very hip hop oriented, it's very graffiti oriented, infused with wrestling. And I love it. And a lot of the wrestlers have been very happy to work for us so far. And the fans seem to have really liked the shows, and the shows have gotten really good buzz so far. So I want to continue. I'm going to continue doing it, I guess, until the wheels fall off. But you always want to be ahead of the game, and if you come up with a creative idea to enhance the company, you're going to go that route as well.
Yeah, definitely. And those flyers are like amazing, man. They're bringing me back flashbacks of some good hip hop.
Real hip hop, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and that's the key. Every album cover has been from a New York artist.
Yeah.
You know, and we're not going to just pick it's different nowadays. Now you have iTunes and Spotify and all these different things. So people don't really buy albums anymore. They don't buy CDs.
Yeah.
So the album covers aren't as prevalent now. So we try to just use old school hip hop to, make people see what we're doing. And I feel like they've done well. I feel like people have marked out to them a lot. So if you like them, I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, definitely.
You see, every time I see you, there's two things that stand out: the Golden Girls and the El Rey All Day. How did both come about?
Man, that's funny. So my partner, Orlando Fernandez, he gave me the Golden Girls. And he just gave me the brass knuckles to give me the brass knuckles. I was looking for an object to bring into the ring, something to be different, something to be unique and stand out. And my friend Jerry named them the Golden Girls, and it's stuck ever since. And I mean, they've gotten pretty over. I feel like ever since I got the Golden Girls, it took my career to another level. And it's helped me, I feel like it's helped me draw even more heat just due to the fact that I use them to win my matches. So people are upset when they see me winning by using brass knucks and stuff like that. So that's been pretty cool. And El Rey All Day just means the king all day, and that's who I am. So it rhymes too, and I feel like if I were to ever get signed to a major company, that would be, definitely be my catchphrase. And I think I could see thousands of fans screaming it with me, at the same time. So it's very marketable, and I like it a lot, man. So that's how that one came about, and I came up with El Rey All Day, so I'm happy with that.
I thought you were watching El Rey and Lucha Underground all day. I was like,
no. Definitely not. But that's a great company. But no, it didn't come from there.
I was like, man, you have some good taste in wrestling shows.
Oh man, that's funny.
Yeah, especially now with Sonny Kiss on it. I was like, this is great.
Yeah, man, I'm so happy for Sonny. Sonny's such a talented individual, and
definitely, for sure.
When. For a little while, I felt like people were just viewing Sonny as as a gay wrestler, but Sonny's a very talented wrestler, gay or straight.
Yeah.
Sonny could wrestle and is super athletic and can go. So, blessings and big shout out to Sonny. I'm very proud of him.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Big shout out to Sonny.
Yeah, for real. And let's talk about fashion, because every time I see you post, man, these outfits you got on are amazing. I consider myself to be the best dressed wrestling fan, and I'm starting to think you're the best dressed. I'm starting to think you're the best dressed wrestler, man.
Well, you don't think it, you know it. It's very true. We'll give credit where credit is due. I am the best dressed wrestler, but it's all part of the character. But the funny thing about that is I wear all that stuff in real life. That's who I am. And the swag is strong, so I just feel like it's very important to present yourself in a very good way, and that's with everything that you do. So, the dressing is very important, and I feel like it's also helped the character get over a lot. If I was the king of New York and I was wearing just a regular wrestling t-shirt, people wouldn't care.
Yeah, see, I'm trying to. Yeah, I'm trying to change that perception of wrestling fans, man. I'm trying to make it look cool and show people that we're cool, man. Wrestling is cool for sure.
Wrestling is very cool, man. And, believe me, I know it's very, very cool. And yeah, you should always present yourself. We live in a world where perception is reality. So when people view you for the first time, they're gonna judge you off of what you're wearing automatically. Doesn't matter if you're a multi-millionaire. If you're dressed like shit, people are gonna think that you're not wealthy, or you're not a good dresser, or whatever the case may be. So you always want to make a good impression. I feel like me dressing a specific way not only helps the character, but it gives people a perception that I'm a professional and that I take my craft very seriously.
Definitely, and just like the quote goes, you gotta dress for the job that you want. So if you want to be a professional, you gotta dress like a professional.
You know what I'm saying? If you want to get all the girls like I do, you gotta look like you want to get all the girls like I do.
I think I have pretty good fashion. You know, Derek always shakes his head, but
Yeah,
I think I do.
You're fancy. I see you, Andrew. I see you.
The best part of his outfit is the accessory, and I'm the accessory.
You know what I'm saying? I like that.
I have an arranged collection of wrestling T-shirts. You know.
Oh my god.
I'm all for the wrestling T-shirts, man, but now like they all get worn to the gym, you know. So it's like I really don't wear them unless I'm working out. And that reminds me, if people are interested, the El Rey All Day T-shirt is officially out.
Yes.
And I have a few left over, so if anybody's interested, you can DM me on Instagram at El Rey All Day or on Twitter at El Rey All Day or find me on Facebook and I'll get you a shirt as quickly as possible.
Talking about the shirt, you exposed the list of people who bought them, and then you called them jackasses.
I think people really appreciate that. You know, I wanna show people that this character has a good sense of humor as well, and I want to make my fans feel a part of what they do. I mean, I'm so grateful when people, you know, come up to me and they tell me that they appreciate my style of wrestling, because my style is not the in style right now. It's you know, the old school stuff is not what's popular nowadays. It's the, you know, the high spots and the fast paced action of wrestling, and I wrestle very differently. I use a lot of psychology and stuff like that. So when people appreciate the work, it makes you feel like you're doing the right thing. But, you know, there was a time where I was like, well, maybe I should, you know, kind of conform and become like everybody else. Luckily, I was convinced not to do that.
Yeah, I'm kind of jealous because we work in retail, and if we sell a shirt, we can't call anybody jackass, you know? Like,
I call everybody a jackass. I call my son a jackass.
really?
Whoever, it's all the time. It's, you know, it's funny because when I'm with some of the wrestlers, they'll scream at me and call me jackass. So I find it really funny.
So
Now with
It's picked up steam.
yeah, for real. Now with hip hop being like such a influence on NYC Wrestling, who is your favorite rapper, and who do you think is the best rapper in New York all time?
My favorite rapper is the best rapper in New York of all time. That's Nas. I'm a very big fan of Nas, and he's number one lyrically. His albums, from the beginning, even to the new album that he put out a few weeks ago, Under Good Music with Kanye West. It's a phenomenal album.
Yeah.
And it's one of those albums that you can listen to from the first song to the end. And his songs give a message. They're not about, you know, sure, you're going to have songs about popping bottles and making money and getting girls and stuff like that, because that's what most people want to hear about.
Yeah.
But if you really listen to Nas's lyrics, he teaches history. He talks about the way things should be, and he gives a lot of lessons on the past, the present, and, you know, and the future of society in general. So Nas is definitely number one on my list by far, and there's not even a close number two.
Nice. So that I could take it that you don't think the self-named new king of New York, 6ix9ine, is the best rapper in New York.
No, he's not the best rapper in New York, but I do like his beats a lot. I mean, his lyrics aren't great, but he reminds me of like Onyx from back in the day.
Yeah, true.
Where it's a very hard music. I like a lot. Don't get me wrong. I don't get why Tekashi 6ix9ine gets all the hate that he does.
Yeah,
he's different and he's unique, and you know, are his songs lyrically the best? No, but can you dance to them? Yes. Can you pop your head to the sound? Yes, you can. So it's just a different genre of music that it might not. It's not necessarily my cup of tea.
Yeah, I think he's good. I like his music. I think it's just his image with the rainbow hair, the rainbow grill, and I think like if he was in wrestling, he'll be like the best heel because people just love to hate him.
Yeah, I mean I think that's why I respect him so much, is because he is doing his job as a troll. I mean, he wants attention. He's getting it. So
Definitely.
It's definitely working, man.
Mm-hmm.
Just recently, Matt Tremont, he said he called his shot at CCW. You got in the ring with him. How was it getting in the ring with Matt Tremont?
Matt Tremont is one of the most underrated wrestlers that you'll ever meet, because he's labeled as a death wrestler. Mm-hmm. And I'm happy that, he's won every major death tournament that there was. But I like to see him wrestle because he has tons of charisma. He connects with the fans. He's a great talker. He can cut a promo. Yeah. He's great on social media as well. I respect him so much, and one of the kindest people that you'll ever meet. Super humble, super good guy, and he deserves all the success that he's gotten. And I hope he gets that match with Cody. That would be great for him if he could get that.
Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, coming up with things like that Japan fears him and stuff like that. I mean, he really went out and made his own breaks.
Yeah, man, he got the people behind him, and that's what's so important about social media, is that you want people to believe in you and believe in your character. And for myself, I have to play a thin line because I don't want to be too extreme. Mm-hmm. I lost a lot of friends because people thought I really liked Donald Trump. It was a little ridiculous. But, when you play a character, you got to go with it 100%.
Yeah.
Matt's one of the guys that does that very, very well. I feel like I'm one of the guys that does that extremely well too. So, you give respect where respect is due, and nothing but the best for Matt. He's a great human being.
You're talking about Donald Trump. You tried to get rid of your friend Miguel Sosa, the hired hand. Trump was the one that got him back.
Got him back.
That was the phone call that I had a little bit to Trump Towers real quick. We got Miguel back here quicker than expected. He was supposed to do 7 to 10 years.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, right.
How close are you with Miguel, and how did that come about, your friendship?
I've known Miguel for years. I actually got introduced to him by Casey Blade, mm-hmm. And I ended up becoming very good friends with him. And I approached him about being the Miguel character, and he was interested. He didn't think it was gonna be as big as it got, because it got really huge quickly. It got very over quickly. Mm-hmm. And he couldn't handle it. You know what I mean? With his work schedule and his real life stuff and things of that nature. It became overbearing for him, because at the time I was getting extremely hot, and people associated it with me, tremendously. So, I mean, I asked him, he was into it, and, I thank him so much for helping me get over, because he was a big part of the character going to the next level as well.
Nice.
Yeah, just the visual of you guys together is just amazing.
Yeah, cool, because he actually looks like me. It's just funny when you sit there and you think about it, but he does look like me. And what's even better about it is that I get to spend time with one of my best friends on the road, and he was such a huge wrestling fan. It was like I was able to make his dreams come true, even if it was for a few months or a year, or however long it was. But it took the momentum quick, and people were marking out to it a lot. It sucks that it kind of stopped a little bit, but hopefully it'll all come back sooner or later. But, the whole situation with that happened with TJ Marconi, the creator guy thing, was going so well. Mm-hmm. It kind of messed up things for some of the other wrestlers that were involved. They felt like they had to choose sides and stuff like that. So that's why it kind of sucks for Sebastian Cage. It sucks for Steve Lugo, and it sucked for Miguel that they had to get put in the middle of that. So, if you guys are listening, I apologize for that, but it was the best. It was for the best.
Yeah. Now, can you tell us when you had your Ring of Honor tryout? How was that? How was that experience, and what did you get out of that whole experience?
I got a lot out of it. I started selling T-shirts because of it, and I saw what Ring of Honor was looking for, and I thought I destroyed the tryout. I thought I did so well. And things happen, but I feel like there's a possibility if I keep on doing what I got to do of getting signed by Ring of Honor. I really do. I feel like I can contribute to that brand and be what they don't have. I feel like all the heels in Ring of Honor are still light.
Yeah.
They're not like real. Like they're not real heels. Like even the villain Marty Scurll is like very popular.
Yeah.
So, I would want to bring that character and that realness to Ring of Honor, and I think we're a match made in heaven, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot. Bubba Ray Dudley was at the tryout, and Delirious, and Cheeseburger, and Joey Matthews was there, and Danny Cage from the Monster Factory. They had a lot of heavy hitters. Bob Evans was there. They had a lot of heavy hitters, and to see people walk out to your work and appreciate what you do, your type of art, your art form, it's a flattering feeling, and it makes me want to work harder until I achieve my goals.
Nice. And like, what do you think about like how wrestling is today, the scene, or like, what are your thoughts on wrestling?
It's amazing, bro. A few years ago, if you were 30 years old and you didn't get signed by the time you were 30, you were never getting signed.
Yeah.
So, there's so many more avenues and opportunities for wrestlers. Bobby Fish got signed at 41 years old. So there's so many avenues and opportunities for wrestlers all around the world now. Mm-hmm. And age is nothing but a number. If you take care of yourself and you produce, that's all that matters. Look at the quick rise of Keith Lee. Look at the quick rise of Leo Rush. Look at what Joey Janela is doing right now.
Yep.
What LAX is doing right now. And guys like Zachary Wentz and Desmond Xavier and all these young guys, they're all getting opportunities that might not have been there a few years ago. So I'm just excited for wrestling. I'm excited for women's wrestling. I'm excited for being able to run my own promotion and all the options that the boys have. There's a lot of major wrestling companies. Impact Wrestling is definitely on the come up. Ring of Honor is doing a show in Madison Square Garden. Come on, as a wrestling fan, if the fans aren't excited for what wrestling is becoming, then they'll never be excited.
What opportunities has wrestling given you as a personal achievements?
Well, I got to meet some of my idols. Growing up, I was able to wrestle a lot of the people that I admired growing up. I've met some great people. I've met some terrible people. It's helped me grow up as a person and mature. Mm-hmm. When I was younger in the wrestling business, I had so many opportunities in front of me, and I didn't realize it. I didn't treat wrestling like a business, and because of that, I probably wasn't I wasn't as successful as I could have been if I would have just treated wrestling the way that I'm treating it now. Mm-hmm. So I'm just grateful for the second opportunity, and I learned so much in wrestling. I could talk to you for hours about things that I've learned. It's insane.
Yeah. Now with wrestling, being a kid, and I would see wrestlers, and even my son now, when he sees wrestlers, they're kind of like real life superheroes. So how does that feel to you to like just be a wrestler and then have like that image on you, whether it's to your family or whether it's to, other kids as well?
My son adores me, man, and I know he's very proud of me, but I know he also wants to see me complete my goal.
Yeah.
And, the last few months I've been in NXT, I've been in Ring of Honor, so I feel like I owe it to him to finish and get there so that I can prove to him that dreams come true with hard work. Yes. I recently did a presentation at Halsey Junior High School in Queens. I spoke in front of 600 kids, and it was one of the most humbling experiences of my life to see these kids look at me like I was a star. You know what I mean? And you just want to give. I want to give back to people, and I want to be a good role model for people. And I want people to. The most important thing for me is I want people to be able to determine the difference between the character and who I really am. It's two completely different things. And sometimes people get it mixed up and think that it's one thing. So, being a role model is something that you should not take lightly. You should take it extremely seriously and conduct yourself as such.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that.
You know, growing up for me, JP was such a big part of my life, and you know, luckily I've been able to talk to so many people from JP, from Arcadia to Monster Mac to Dan Moff, and now you. You know, what did JP mean to you as a whole?
Jersey All Pro Wrestling was some of the greatest experiences of my wrestling career. They gave me my first opportunity to be on a pro show with the Jersey All Pro. I wrestled the Shallow Wrecking Crew at Seaside Heights. And from that day on, I have to thank Magic and Zuba, but especially Magic, because I remember Jersey All Pro wanted them to squash us, and he refused. And that match helped us 3 matches later win our first tag team titles at Jersey All Pro and our first tag team titles on the Indies. Jersey All Pro gave us so many different opportunities. They gave us a forum to work in front of great people, and I got to work a lot of great wrestlers from there. You know, Jay Lethal's the Ring of Honor champion. He wrestled there. I was able to wrestle Teddy Hart and Davey Boy Smith Jr. and different guys like that. So I have to thank Jersey All Pro for everything that they did for me. It truly is a pleasure and an honor to ever step foot into that company. That company was such a big deal in the late 90s and the early 2000s, and I don't think I realized how big it was until I left.
Yeah. Does that help your resume out when you say, you know, I competed in JAP?
I think back in the days it helped a lot more. You know, my take on Jersey All Pro might be a little bit different than everybody else's, but I feel like when Scott Frank passed away, JAP should have passed away with him. He was Jersey All Pro Wrestling, and I felt like they kept it alive a little too long after he passed away. But, you know, that's just my opinion, you know what I mean? And, but back in the days, it definitely meant a lot when Ring of Honor raided Jersey All Pro.
Yeah.
In the beginning, they took the majority of the talent, and you know, and then TNA raided Ring of Honor, so they all came from Jersey All Pro, and a lot of the best wrestlers in the world at one point stepped into the ring at Jersey All Pro, from Kenny Omega to Tyler Black to CM Punk to, you know, El Generico and Kevin Steen and guys like that. So to a lot of people, Jersey All Pro was a very big deal.
Yeah, and it was awesome back in the day because you could go to ROH and see you guys there, or you could go to CCW. I mean, you guys were all over the place. That was incredible at that time.
Yeah, man, wrestling was awesome at that time, and you know, my only regret is that I didn't treat wrestling like a business back then. I was too busy wanting to meet girls and party and have a good time. So, truth though, it's a real regret for me. You know, like I can laugh at it now. You know, but, I really wish that I would have took it a lot more seriously than I took it back then, because I know I would have been in a much better place. I was in the Ring of Honor locker rooms when Bryan Danielson and CM Punk and Samoa Joe, Homicide, obviously, and Low Key, but Amazing Red Xavier, all the guys that went to WWE and Impact, I was in that locker room with them, and I should have just worked harder. You know, you never know what would have happened if I just would have been more consistent with what I was doing.
Definitely. Now, with all the great talent that you have been in the ring with, is there a favorite opponent that you have had, or a favorite match that you look at and, you know, that's just like your favorite match all time?
I had great chemistry with Jay Lethal. really, really good chemistry. And, you know, if everything works out the way that I planned for it to work out, you know, I'll get to wrestle him again on a bigger stage in front of a lot more people. But he also, Dan Moss is a great wrestler, man. I mean, so many. JT Dunn was another great guy to wrestle with. I mean, I've wrestled with a lot of guys that are so good. You know what I mean? Teddy Hart. I could go on and on, but I'm very honored to have wrestled the guys that I've wrestled. But there's a new breed of guys that are out there that I want to wrestle, and there's some guys that I want to wrestle again in hopes to create new memories and show people what I have.
Yeah, you just mentioned Magic, and the first thing that came to my mind was SWF 35 years. You know, how incredible is it that he lasted 35 years in wrestling, going on 36?
Yeah, it's rare, man, because, you know, it's so hard to last 10 years in the wrestling business. But to see the amount of guys that he's rubbed shoulders with and the amount of guys that he's helped throughout the years it's impressive, man. And God bless him. He deserved that show, and he deserves all the success in the world. He's helped out so many people, and the reason why, probably the number one reason why he's lasted so long is because he's helped so many people. You know what I mean? And when you're good to people, people are good to you. So I think that's very important too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Now, coming up on August 10th is NYC Wrestling. Can you kind of tell us like what fans can expect from that show?
I think there's going to be a lot of first-time matches that are happening there, and I really feel like there's a very strong talent base there. So we have guys from TNA, we have guys from Ring of Honor, we have guys that are hot in the Midwest, we have guys from Lucha Underground as well, and then some of the best local talent in all the area, all coming together for one night. 321 South Washington Avenue in Bergenfield, New Jersey. That's next Friday night. August 10th, we're doing the first time ever Teddy Hart versus Flip Gordon one-on-one, which I think is going to be incredible. I'm very excited for that. And we're doing we're continuing the angle from Impact Wrestling with LAX. So we're doing LAX versus Eddie Kingston Homicide, which for the OGs in Impact Wrestling, and I think that's going to be great as well. I'm wrestling Joey Ryan that night, and I think it's going to be another fantastic match. We're also doing Vince Steele versus Riot Rays. Those are two of the biggest guys from this area right now, and I think people are going to be very surprised with how good that match is. And we're also doing Ace Romero versus Jay George, which, he's a young guy that we want to give an opportunity to. Plus a few matches that haven't been announced yet that we're going to be announcing in the next day or two. So I'm really excited for that. I think it's just a good blend of great workers that are going to make you feel like you're a part of the show, and also, work hard to give you the best matches humanly possible. So I'm really excited for the show, and I hope that all the fans come out and support the product.
Now, EC, are you afraid of Joey Ryan's finisher by chance?
Am I what?
I mean, you might have to touch, the King of Dong style.
No, let me tell you. I'm guaranteeing that I don't touch it. It's not going to get touched. I might make him touch my penis, because let me tell you, the King of New York.
Would that be consensual?
The King of New York for a long time was the King of the Rats. I used to get a lot of women. So I know that I'm the true King of Dong style. We'll see what happens.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, you got to be a little bit worried though about that, just a little bit.
I'm never worried.
No.
I'm never worried. I'm not scared of Joey Ryan one bit. I'm gonna chop the furry chest of his. All the hair's gonna come flying off his chest, and I'm gonna slap his mustache off his face. I'm gonna beat him 1, 2, 3 in Bergenfield, because I'm El Rey all day.
Oh my goodness.
The thing that was funny that you mentioned on before, that you always work as a bad guy. Have you ever thought about becoming a good guy?
You know what's funny is that my best run in wrestling ever was as a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
When Casey Blade got hurt, I started being a babyface in Jersey All Pro and also in Ace Pro Wrestling. And, bro, it was crazy. Like, the fans were behind me a lot. Like, a lot. And I was surprised how good the babyface run was. And when I came back to wrestling after I retired for a few years, I came back as a babyface, and the reception that I got was great, too. I know fans would really be behind me if I was a babyface.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that if they boo you, that means they'll cheer you even harder. So I think I would have a great babyface run, but until someone could be a better heel than me, I don't think I'm going to leave being a heel. And I think this will be very hard to do.
Yeah. You know, another one of those matches that I really liked was you and Fallah Bahh. You know, how was it getting in the ring with him?
I was very injured for that match.
Mm-hmm.
I wrestled Dan Moffat What Wrestling, and he gave me a cannonball with Miguel on his back.
Oh, yeah.
And when he landed on me, my groin on both sides pulled at the same time, and I couldn't walk for weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But I somehow got through that match with Fallah Bahh, and I mean, I want to work him again, like, healthy. You know, I think I could have a 10 times better match with him, but he's just a great guy, and I remember him early on in his wrestling career, so I'm very happy for his success at Wrestle Pro and also on Impact Wrestling. He deserves it.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because you can adapt to guys like Moose, Nick Gage, Sean Maluta, you know, Al Snow, and even JTG. I mean, what goes into those, like, you know, mentally? How do you adapt to all these different styles?
Because you have to be a chameleon in this business, and I feel like for myself, I don't feel like I get the credit that I deserve as one of the best wrestlers in the world.
Mm-hmm.
What you said is a perfect way to describe me. I do adapt to a lot of different people's styles, and I feel like I'm very talented and underrated when it comes to that. But, you know, I'm going to keep working harder until people start echoing, wow, this guy is truly one of the best. So it motivates me. But to adapt to people's styles, I just feel like it's easy to do. You know, like you just go with whatever guys. You just do what guys are best at. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And if you focus on those points, and everything else is easy peasy.
Yeah, for sure. And you also spent some time at SWF. Can you tell us about your experiences with SWF and your relationship with Rob Fury?
Rob is one of the funniest guys you'll ever meet. He's a character. He's hilarious. He says a lot of funny stuff, but that guy has a heart of gold. And he's a good man. And, you know, everybody in wrestling gets a reputation of being whatever people want to perceive them to be. Yeah. But I'll tell you one thing about Rob Fury. He's the hardest working promoter that I know. He throws more shows than anybody in New Jersey probably put together. And he's really consistent with what he does. So, you know, kudos to him for being, you know, a good guy and always honoring his word with myself and with others. And when he says he's going to do something, he's going to do something. And, you know, the family of SWF just recently, you know, lost a member of a family, and it's very heartbreaking. And I know that August 18th they're having a big show in Jackson, New Jersey, you know, a tribute to Lucas. I donated my time for that, but it just, you know, things like that show the type of person that Rob is, because Rob's looking to help somebody else. Yeah. You know, he's putting his own money into making sure that Dave and his family get some financial relief, because this is a shocker to what happened to him and his family. And I just want to say to Dave, you know, we love you, and our prayers and thoughts are with you at this time now.
Yeah, absolutely. You just phrased it the best, you know, for sure. You know, our hearts definitely go out to the family of Ace Marquez.
Yeah, man, that's insane, man. I can never imagine. I don't know what I would do if I was ever put in that situation. So to see him that strong and to see him that tough is insane, man. It's wild, to say the least.
Yeah, and that's awesome that you touched on that. And anybody who wants to donate, you just buy a ticket or something like that. Even if you can't make it to the show, it will still help the family of Ace Marksman out for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it definitely will, man. And he's a good guy. No one deserves that. No one. I don't think anybody in this world would ever want to bury one of their children. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a rough situation, but we're here for him, and I just hope that he gets better and copes with it. As time goes on.
Yeah. I mean, you alluded to this earlier, though, that you were at NXT. How was that? What did you learn from there?
It was one of the greatest experiences of my life, to finally be put into the Matrix. That's the number one place in the world.
Mm-hmm.
That's where everybody wants. That's where everybody wants to be. If you're a professional wrestler and you don't want to ever work for WWE, you shouldn't be wrestling. So to be there was fantastic, and to see how everything happens is fantastic. And I hope to be back there very, very soon, under a different capacity. But it was great. I mean, you're walking down the hallway and Shawn Michaels is passing you. It's pretty insane, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome, and they're the most well-run machine humanly possible. We have so many people there that all contribute in different ways, and that are all a part of making the product better. So to even just be there and to get called there and for them to accept you, even whatever work you get, or even if you don't get work, is an honor, because they only select a few people to go.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to ask you this. We're going to end on a high note. What are some of the best ribs or road stories you have that you could talk about?
Oh, Jesus, man. Some of them are real bad. I think that's why people hated me so much, man, because, at the time the DRS were known as pretty big ribbers, and we didn't do it to personally hurt anybody. We did it to be a part of the business and to be one of the boys, and I think people just took it the wrong way, because I guess it was because the green guys were the ones doing the ribbing to the veterans and stuff like that.
Oh my God.
It should be the other way around. But one of the best stories was that one time I put on like a fake Southern accent, and I pretended I was Kamala, and I called Frank Goodman, who was the promoter at USA Pro at the time, and asked him why he wasn't flying me in, and he messed up my booking and stuff like that. It was I'm telling you, piss in your pants hilarious. You had to be there, but to hear the reaction of Frank Goodman pleading and apologizing to Kamala was so funny, man. But you can't really we're not in that era no more where you could really do ribs and stuff like that. You'll get in a lot of trouble for stuff like that nowadays. This world is different. Yeah. But ribs were seen as a great thing. It was to build camaraderie amongst brothers. And it's not like that anymore.
Yeah, definitely. Now, can you tell all of our fans where they can find you on social media, as well as NYC Wrestling?
Yeah, so for NYC Wrestling, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at NYC Wrestling. And on Facebook, we have a fan page, which is NYC Now You Create Wrestling. For myself, you can find me on Twitter, and you can find me on Instagram at El Rey All Day. That's ELREYALLDAY. And you can find me on my shoot Facebook. That's at Jarrell, JOREL KONY, King of New York, Arroyo, ARROYO. And I also have a fan page, The King of New York, EC Negro.
Nice. Well, we definitely appreciate the King of New York taking the time out and answering our questions and doing the show with us, man. We thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. And guys, just a quick reminder, next Friday, 8/10/18, protect your neck, 321 South Washington Avenue. We're going to have Teddy Hart. We're going to have Flip Gordon. We're going to have Eddie Kingston and Homicide, Santana and Ortiz, LAX. We're going to have Ace Romero. We're going to have the debuting Mylan Reed, Casey Navarro, Vince Steele, Riot Rays, and all the stars of NYC Wrestling. It's going to be a great show. We are starting at 9 p.m. It's a late Friday night, but the reason why is we want to give people an opportunity to go home from work, change, shower, and then come out and watch a great 2 hours of wrestling. So, guys, please come and support. I would truly appreciate it.
Definitely.
And thank you again, EC, for coming on. And for us, we are Wrestling IQ 101. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Wrestling IQ 101. You can listen right here on YouTube, or you can listen to us on the B Plus Player Network across all platforms. And for us, we are out.
We're out. You have just listened to the Wrestling IQ 101 podcast, powered by B Plus Player Radio.
One more for the good guy.